You cannot arrest a lion by calling him to dinner. 7 words. That's all it took to send shockwaves across a continent. But before that moment became a viral quote, before hashtags lit up the digital sky, and before the silence from powerful offices became deafening, something else happened. A quiet move, a hidden trap, and a man who saw it coming. It began on a tense night in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso. The air was still, too still. Inside the presidential residence, Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat at his desk, surrounded by intelligence reports. Pages marked with red warnings, signs of foreign meddling, ECOWAS sanctions, whispers of betrayal inside his own circle. He didn't flinch. He studied them like a chess player scanning the board. Then the phone rang. The caller ID read just 2 letters, NG, Nigeria. He picked up. On the other end, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The voice was warm, friendly, confident. "Brother Ibrahim," he began, "how are you?" There was no small talk. Tinubu went straight to the point. "All this ECOWAS tension," he said, "this back and forth, it doesn't have to go on. Come to Abuja, just you and me. Let's fix this as Africans. No France, no interference, just peace." Traoré listened carefully. Tinubu sounded sincere, too sincere. He leaned back in his chair and responded, "Peace talks?" "Absolutely," Tinubu said. "A conversation between brothers." Traoré smiled. Not the kind of smile you show when you agree, but the kind you show when you've heard this game before. He ended the call, then made another, this time to his intelligence chief. "Track every French diplomatic movement in Abuja," he ordered. "I want eyes on every corner of Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport. If this is a trap, we see it before it snaps." While the world thought diplomacy was in motion, another script was being written. In Abuja, inside the French embassy, orders were already being handed down. Quietly, firmly. A French official gave the directive without emotion. When he lands, he said, "Don't let him leave. Ground the plane. Delay him. The operation is ready." A Nigerian contact nodded. "Understood," he replied. "He won't make it past the tarmac." But Traoré had already moved. Officially, a Burkina Faso jet was being prepped. Media outlets reported it was headed to Nigeria for peace talks. Cameras captured the takeoff. Commentators praised the possibility of diplomacy. Security at the Abuja airport tightened. The trap was almost complete. And then the plane landed. Security teams were in position. French agents watched from hotel windows. The tension was thick enough to cut. The jet door opened. 2 people stepped out. They weren't guards. They weren't aides. They were diplomats. Calm, composed, smiling. "President Traoré sends his regards," one of them said. "He regrets he couldn't attend." Confusion swept the runway. Phones lit up in panic. The operation had no target, because Ibrahim Traoré was never on that plane. He was back in Burkina Faso, sitting quietly in a broadcast studio. No danger, no uncertainty, just total control. Wearing his military uniform, eyes steady and voice calm, he looked directly into the camera. "They thought they'd find me in Abuja," he said, "but I do not answer to traps. I do not answer to puppets. I answer to the people." Then came the sentence that would become legend. "You cannot arrest a lion by calling him to dinner." It hit the continent like a lightning bolt. The internet erupted. Across Africa, something stirred. Not just admiration for a bold move, but recognition. A man had just exposed the game, and he wasn't done. On camera, Traoré held up a folder, thick, stamped, official. Inside, intercepted communications, flight logs, audio files. One page in particular stood out. A directive. Ensure Ibrahim Traoré does not leave Nigeria without approval. Codename, Stabilization Protocol. So this wasn't just ECOWAS protocol. This was a French-backed operation, and now it was exposed. In Mali, murals appeared overnight. A lion walking past a cage. In Niger, radio hosts called it Africa's Awakening. In Nigeria, social media caught fire. TikTok and Twitter were flooded with questions. If our leaders betray each other for France, who do they really serve? Protests broke out. Young Nigerians marched through the streets demanding answers. In Ghana, university students wore shirts that read, "We are all Traoré." And from the halls of power, silence. The French embassy offered no comment. Tinubu made no statement, no denial, just silence. And in politics, silence is rarely empty. Behind closed doors in Nigeria's Senate, murmurs began. "This changes everything," one lawmaker whispered. "The people are watching." And they were. Across the continent, millions had just seen what many suspected, but few had proven. That the so-called diplomacy of African politics often comes laced with foreign fingerprints. Traoré didn't fire a bullet. He didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He just told the truth, clearly, calmly, and without fear. And in doing so, he didn't just escape a trap. He revealed one. Because sometimes the most powerful weapon is truth. If you're tired of the same old games, if you believe in a new Africa led by those who answer to the people, not the puppets, then like, share, and subscribe. This is only the beginning.